You were born free, and it's time to remember who you were meant to be. You were born to rule, and it's time for you to shine all the light inside of you.
Welcome, everyone. My name is Crystal Andrus Morissette, and I will be your teacher for the next, for the next lifetime. No, I'm only kidding. For at least the next 4 months, we're going to be spending 1 week together every week. These calls will be at 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, right at the top of the hour. We'll come on. I'll flick us into record mode. If any one of you ever notice that I haven't pressed record, wave me down and make sure I do. No pressure on you. It's my job. But you know, it's been known to happen from time to time. For those of you who are here for the very first time, thank you. Thank you for trusting in yourself. Thank you for trusting in our school. Thank you for trusting in this program. For those of you that are back, and some of you might say, what do you mean they're back? I know, we just can't leave each other. We just keep doing it over and over. Some of you are like, oh, I'm doing it again. So here's the great thing about our program. One of the things that I love about our program is that once you sign up, if you get everything done within 12 months and you've graduated, well, number one, there's no additional charges. You can stay with us for the rest of your life. You can come back and watch these classes over and over. That's the incentive to getting it all finished in 12 months. Now, some of you are like, what do you mean 12 months? I thought we could do this in 4. It's been known to happen. We actually had Karen Mccoy. I'm just going to give a call out. I don't know if Karen's on again this time. She could be. She can be on these now for the rest of her life free of charge. But Karen Mccoy started last January, and she completely finished the curriculum, all of the assignments, and got her 30 practice coaching calls in. I think within 5 months she did it. So I know that it's possible. I wouldn't put any pressure on yourself to do it at that rate. Some of you started last January and you're just finishing up your 30 coaching calls now. So fantastic. So it's so amazing to have you back and doing this again with us. Some of you started last January and came on every single one of these calls, and we're so part of the community and we're taking it all in. And I felt like I know you, and you probably feel like you know me, and I feel like you know each other, but you didn't get any assignments done. I know, some of you did that. Some of you are like, I don't know, I just love showing up every week, but I didn't hand in assignments. So there are some of you that have paid for an extension. That's the only time you have to pay for an extension is if you don't get everything done and you want to carry on with us. You got to pay for that extension. Let me just make sure that's turned off. And I didn't mean to actually say all that right out of the gate because I don't want to sound like, what? Let me shut off my Outlook. Sorry about that, ladies. Come on, close it down, discard. Okay, Outlook's off. Okay, with all that being said, here we are. Welcome and congratulations. We're going to dive right into the learning platform today. For those of you who have done it before, you know what I'm talking about, the learning platform. Those of you who have never done this before, what you can anticipate on these calls with me that are live. And if you're watching a recording, very often you're going to feel like it's live. You're going to feel like you're right with us anyways. The difference is you're only going to see me. When you come on live, you can choose to put your Zoom on speaker view, or you can choose to put it on gallery view. If it's on speaker view, you're going to see me. The whole screen is going to be me, and you're going to be able to see the whiteboard clearly. If you put it on gallery view, you get to see each other. Now, I like to put it on gallery view because I like to see all of you when I'm teaching. You might find that distracting, so please just feel whatever is right for you. Is that Leah? Leah, is that Leah? Leah Mendola? No? Yeah, is that her? Okay, I thought it was. Okay, maybe it's not. You have someone that looks just, anyways, doesn't matter. Here I am, I'm recording. So you can choose to either be speaker view or gallery view. Let's do a little bit of housekeeping just with this actual Zoom platform so that nobody ever presses the green share button at the bottom in the middle of the screen. You never want to do that. If I could stop you all from doing that, I would. I have not figured out how to stop anyone from doing that. And every so often someone just decides to play with all the buttons, and then they take over the screen, and then we all get to see your desktop, and then we're all watching what you're doing instead of watching me. So the thing to never press is the green button on the bottom, the little box that says share, because we don't want to share your screen. I also try to get on a little bit early so that I can put it into mute mode, but allow you to unmute your call. So if I get on, say 15 minutes early, and if I don't, just be aware that we can all hear you. So if you do come on early and you forget to hit the mute button, just remember that we can hear everything you're saying and doing with your family and your dogs and your husband or your partner. And so I do try to mute it. I also want to let you know what's fun about being live is that if you have questions, you can always raise your hand. Now, to make sure that you don't feel overlooked or that I don't overlook you, the safest way to make sure that you raise your hand is to go to the little button. For me, it's on my right side. So when I'm doing this, that's probably your right side, down at the bottom, and you'll see a little thing that says more. And if you click on that little more with a little arrow, you can raise your hand. That allows me to see much easier that you've raised your hand to ask a question. Sometimes just doing this, sometimes we have 3 or 4 layers of gallery, and I have to keep moving through it to make sure I can see everyone. So if you do have a question, feel free to raise your hand. That's what this is for. I will come on. It's about an hour. We're going to keep it to an hour, these calls. I will come on and really, you know what I'm doing? I'm going to take you onto the platform and I'm going to outline the homework assignments or the lessons that you need to cover this week for you to graduate in 4 months, for you to stay on track and have everything done, being able to give yourself between 5 and 10 hours a week. You will absolutely complete this entire curriculum in 4 months. Now, if you get behind and I say, let's say, for example, this week, I'm going to go into it, but this week, the homework is going to be, and I'm going to take you right there, Module 1, Lesson 1, and Lesson 2. And I'm going to go through it with you. So don't freak out because I'm going to go through it with you. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the most important things you need to learn out of this lesson. And we're going to go over what the actual assignment is for the lesson so that you know what to answer. Because we do offer so much in terms of learning. For example, if you were to go to, when we do go, I'm going to do a share screen in a minute. When we do go to Lesson 1, let's just say Lesson 1 of Module 1, you're going to see all kinds of things that Isabel has provided you with, from PDFs to videos, to learning, to audio, and I didn't realize this, but some women, when they would get started, well, it's a wonderful thing to be able to have all of that. But you don't have to listen to all of those. You don't have to watch the video and read the notes and do the audio, and because it's the same information in different learning modalities. So some women would be like, spend an hour reading all the notes, and then they'd spend an hour watching the video, and then they spend an hour doing the audio. And I'm like, and then they're like, Chris, this is a lot of work. Well, you probably could have done it in 15 minutes if you are doing it the way I'm going to tell you to do it. Now, does that mean that you want to move through the stuff faster than you're able to retain it? No, you want to give yourself that time. However, get your assignments done and start your mentorship coaching, because the platform is then there for you forever without any additional fees. If you get your assignments done, you can always go back in and go, you know, now I have a little extra time. I can listen to the audio, watch the video, plus so I'm just giving you, that's me. That's how I would do it. I'm one of those fast. I move through things fast. I do have a personality that goes at something and then just moves through it fast. And I wouldn't say that I'm not thorough, but I'm going to help you recognize and understand the most important thing that we're trying to teach here. And if you can grab that out of it, you've got what you really need out of the lesson. So again, moving across the bottom, there's the mute button on probably your left side. At the bottom, you'll see mute, you'll see video. So if you were to click either one of those, for example, I'm going to do stop video for a second. So for those of you that don't want to be on video and you think you have to put something like a little thing over sometimes women do that. They like don't realize all you have to do is stop video. So you can still hear me, but you don't have to see me. So if you don't want to be seen, you just stop video. That's all you got to do. Some days you don't feel like being seen. But here's the other thing I'm going to really impress upon you. It takes so much courage to be seen in this world. It takes so much courage to put your damn video on, whether you have the best lighting, whether your makeup's done, whether, none of that matters. What matters is that you start to be comfortable just being seen. It's no different than, you know, I think some of us, and I'm really learning how to not do this, where it's like we might take 50 selfies to get, you ladies might not do this, but any one of you that got kids, you know, you take 50 selfies and then you finally go, oh, there's one that looks halfway decent, I can post that. And that gets us into a mentality that we think we have to be, you know, I think one of the greatest things is like, you are who you are. You look how you look. Go be it, do it, shine it. Because now I shouldn't already be saying this, but like my 2020 thing I'm working on right now, which is like, as I say it, I know my kids are going to say, why would you even tell anyone until it's a done deal? But I'm working on closing a TV show right now. And it's really exciting. And part of the courage of having a TV show means you're being seen at every angle. You're being seen, and you can't be like, oh, I don't like my waist on that. You are who you are. You might lose 20 pounds. You might gain 20 pounds. Who cares? Now is the time. Let yourself be seen. Here it is. And if we lose 20 pounds, isn't that great? Maybe. If we gain 20 pounds, isn't that great? Maybe. That's not what this is about. So I do want to always stress and impress upon you that it's a massive courage buster, or a massive courage booster is a better way. A fear buster is when you can just put yourself out there. Just put yourself out there. Have an opinion, have a voice, have thoughts, stand for what you believe in. And this is a great, safe, private place to start that if you haven't done it before in the past. So, okay, so you've got your mute, your stop video. As you move along, don't be inviting anyone in, okay? Because it's just for us, it's our private group. I think you see those same things like invite people, don't invite people. This is for us. But when you do get to the chat section, if you do want to click on that, you'll see over on your sidebar, a chat will move up and you can speak back and forth with each other. There we go. Mary Elizabeth, thank you, found it. There we go. Mary Elizabeth, it's so good to see you. Okay, we all have to do a big call out. See Mary Elizabeth up there. She's at the top. Mary Elizabeth. Okay, I'm going to do a quick unmute on Mary Elizabeth. Mary Elizabeth, I'm unmuting you for a second.
Hi.
Sure, it's been a while. How are you?
I think I'm good.
I think you are too. Okay, Mary Elizabeth, I'm putting you on the spot. The woman who doesn't dye her hair.
Okay.
How old are you?
72.
Hey, 72, and she's becoming an empowerment coach. This is a woman who was a teacher for 30 years, had her own dance studio, has done so much incredible work in the world for children and for teens and for other people. She's been retired for a while and has realized, I got a lot of living left to do, and I got a lot of empowerment to teach and gifts to give the world. And so, Mary Elizabeth, I'm super thrilled to see you here.
I'm happy to be here. Believe me. I'm just so thankful for you, Crystal, and all I've learned and all you do and just who you are. You're amazing. I love you.
I love you. Thank you. Thank you so much. And you're all going to start, those of you that are new are going to be like, what is all this love talk? Why do they all love each other? Why? What's going on with this? You will, after a while, start to realize that that love is a level of consciousness that we're all working to get towards. And when you resonate in that level of consciousness, boy, life starts to it just gets easier. It just gets easier. It's the perspective that you're at. It's the lenses that you see the world through. And one of the things I learned from my friend, I can truly say friend and colleague, that he has passed now, Dr. Wayne Dyer, that he used to say, you know, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So what we're literally teaching our clients, and you're going to be doing that with your clients one day, is helping them to recognize that when someone is in a problem, someone is feeling stuck or frustrated or unsure, or what are my next steps, trying to help someone tackle or make sense of or come up with the right solution in that, let's call it emotional energy, just in that perspective. Albert Einstein said you can never solve a problem from the energy that created it. So what we are actually doing is shifting emotionally, which in science, and we're going to go through that, it's scientific, means that the energy of the thoughts have to speed up. When the energy starts to speed up, it starts to lift and it gets lighter. And it's sort of like you get a little higher perspective on things. So you're not looking at things from that same viewpoint. And so we're different than a life coach. We wouldn't say, you know, if somebody said, I'm just feeling really disorganized right now and I'm feeling stuck and I'm feeling a life coach, which there's a million different modalities of healing and empowerment. Ours though, a life coach would say, okay, this week you're going to clean out all your cupboards. That might be, you're feeling disorganized, so you got to clean out all your cupboards. And while that is important, we would help that person recognize where they're at emotionally. It's like if someone were to come to you, imagine someone were to come to you and say, God, I just feel so unhappy. I'm not liking myself. I'm not liking my body. I'm in a rut. And then we were to try to be a cheerleader and say, okay, this week you're going to join the gym and you're going to clean out all the cupboards in your closet. You're going to clean out all your cupboards. Why we don't do that approach is that we know that it's sort of like setting people up for failure. Because if you are emotionally in a rut, that action serves you, but for very limited periods of time. Haven't we all gone to a convention or a conference or a women's event and we get really pumped up and we're there for the day and we're like, woo, I feel like I'm on a high, and then I leave and I don't know how to sustain it. In fact, sometimes you feel so good that what goes up, until you've learned this, must come down. A lot of us have learned that what goes up must come down. And what we teach is that what goes up can stay up if you can learn how to sustain the high. And that's what we're here to help you do. Sustain those highs, sustain that level of perspective so that you can make better choices. So today I'm going to take you right into the platform. I'm going to do a share screen, which you're not going to do, but I am going to do. And I'm certain that I had, here, let's just make sure I'm SWAT on call. So your learning platform is called SWAT on call. Okay, so let's make sure, wait, let me share screen. Okay, let me make sure. Are you all seeing the learning platform? Can you see the SWAT on call learning platform? Just a nod of your head if you can. Are you seeing this? Are you seeing me move it? Charlene Byers. Yes, okay, great. You're also seeing it from the administrator's viewpoint. So it's gonna look a little different than when you go on. You might not see this whole navigational bar as a student. Okay, so if you do, if you're seeing all this and wondering, don't worry about that. What we're really getting to is that we have two platforms, and you're in the gold platform, the personal empowerment coach certification, and we're going to go into getting started. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly go through this. Again, let me slide this over here. You can read through all of this. It just explains that I have my call here every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. in England. Professor Isabella's calls are every Thursday at 12 p.m. and she covers, holy moly, just about everything other than the curriculum. And she is brilliant. Isabella has a master's in law, a master's in psychology. She's done our Master Empowerment Coach certification. She's got so many other certifications, counseling certifications. And when she finished our master program, Isabella came to me and said, Crystal, this is off the charts brilliant. I need to work for you. So you also have Isabella on Thursdays who comes on at noon, and she always covers something new. Now, Isabella actually starts with us every September and works through the entire year until the end of June, almost like a school year. So she does have new classes, and you'll all have access to those year round. So even though you're starting in January, when we take the summer off, you still have full access to the calls with Isabella from September all the way to December. Okay, make sure you know that. Okay, now let me just move along here. Okay, here's another tip I want to give you. When you're in here, if you're ever not sure, don't close the screen, but instead go back. See it, it'll take you back. So let me just quickly go into the getting started section again. Oh, that's where I just screwed up. Okay, that is it. We are there. So you can take some time. There's nothing in here that's to do with your learning, but you're gonna have your book list. So for example, I'll click on book list. So there's 4 books that we cover in this curriculum, this personal empowerment coach certification. Again, it's not like you're going to read a book and then get tested on the book. I just want to be clear. It's not like you have to read this book and then you'd be like, oh, I'm feeling really overwhelmed with this. And this book is one that sometimes women say, it's a little heady. I'm having a hard time getting into that one. So I'm even going to tell you this. Here's the most important thing that all you got to really learn out of this program is chapter 3. Chapter 3 is the map. Chapter 3 is the actual map of consciousness. The actual map of consciousness, chapter 3, and then it gives a description or a discussion for you to help to understand, or chapter 4, chapter 3 and chapter 4, and then there's a bit of a description on the levels of consciousness. We also have my book, Transcendent Beauty, this one with Hay House. I've had many women say this is their most favorite book they've ever read. It's so beautiful, it makes you feel beautiful. It makes you feel like you really understand your real self and your wounded self. And when we use that, and we use that kind of verbiage more in this program than necessarily for those of you who've been taking my emotional age course. For those of you that have been taking this course, I use sort of that we have this mother energy, daughter energy, woman energy. One of the things you're going to learn with this program is we do a lot of working with parts. We're going to teach you what that means. So this book is really helpful in helping you when you start to understand this idea of like, there's this real you and your clients have this part of, there's the real them. The real them is golden. The real them is in woman energy. We have to always remember that no matter how wounded or unhappy or stuck a client might appear when you first start coaching them, you're going to be shocked at how quickly we can shift someone back up into their real self, sometimes in 3 calls max. You can almost be overwhelmed with how did that just happen. It's important that you don't see your clients as broken, wounded people. You want to see them as their real self and they've just forgotten who they are. The 4th book that we use is Simply Empowered. This book, again, I think you'll love this book. This book I wrote in right the same year I launched the school. It will really help you to discover how to create and sustain success. So those are the 4 books, the Power versus Force, Simply Empowered, Transcendent Beauty, and of course, the Emotional Edge. And many of you are in the Emotional Edge course right now. So you're getting a double whammy. Okay, let me just move along here. The Mentorship Coaching Program is one of the most beautiful aspects of the SWAT Institute, and I highly recommend that you sign up to get a mentor coach right away. If you've never actually had mentorship coaching, it allows you to be on the receiving end. And it allows you to have so much more compassion and empathy when you begin coaching, because you actually realize that it takes a lot of courage to get a coach. It takes a lot of courage to just share your stuff with someone. And it takes a lot of courage to talk about yourself for an hour. Like just to talk about you and then no one else, just you. Okay, so I'm going to jump out of there and I'm going to actually dive into our lessons for this week. So again, to come into the program, I think you've all seen how to log in. You log in, you come to this main page, you're going to come down to module 1. Okay, do you see where I click that? Module 1. And module 1 has 24 lessons. So this week, we're going to cover lesson 1 and lesson 2. And we're going to go through a little bit of that right now. Okay, and again, if you have any questions, just remember it, jot it down, because I'm not going to take questions right away, but before we finish the call, I'll open it up for questions. So if you do have a question, jot it down and raise your hand for more. So we're going to open it right up and go into lesson 1. One of the things, this is where I wanted to show you, is one of the things to keep in mind is you see these little arrows? You're better to use these arrows to move out, or this arrow at the top where you just exit it. because sometimes I found that if you close it off, I know it's just a little bit strange, the module, the learning platform. Sometimes you can close the lesson right down. So let me go into it again. I hope I'm not confusing you. Lesson 1, empowerment coaching. So here's the lesson. Empowerment coaching is not the same. This is the overview of this lesson. It's not the same as life coaching. There are differences between coaching and therapy. Everyone using coaching in their work with clients must be aware of these differences. This lesson is going to introduce you to the concept of empowerment coaching. We're going to explore the origins of coaching and offer you some guidelines for deciding whether or not it might be appropriate to refer your client to a mental health professional. Now, you're going to see here at the bottom, there is an audio, the difference between life coaching and empowerment coaching. There's also a video, how does coaching differ than therapy? And there's a PDF, how does coaching differ from therapy notes? Here's what I recommend you do. Okay, I'm going to give you the first and most important tip. The first thing you do is you always go to the lesson, the assignment. First, know what we're asking for so that you're not listening to an hour-long call, and then at the end of it, you open up your assignment and it says, describe in your own words what is empowerment coaching. The second question is, explain how empowerment coaching differs from therapy, and describe some instances when it might be appropriate to refer your client to a mental health professional. I'm actually cut off. There's 3 questions. Don't let yourself get overwhelmed. My internet connection is unstable. My internet connection is unstable. We're back. Here's what I would say. Print off your assignment so you're really clear that when you start to go through your notes or the audio or the video, that you don't start thinking, oh, that's really good, and you just are really clear. So what is empowerment coaching? Well, let's make it really easy for you. Let's go back. This is where I'd say do the back button. Let's go back. I might have this wrong. I don't think I'm supposed to make it so difficult. Here's what I would do. Here's really what I would do. This is me. I'm going to tell you how I learn. I like being able to just read something and get the information. I'm not a learner that wants to, and some of you are, I'm not a learner that wants to sit for an hour watching a video. That's my personality, or half an hour watching a video. That's my personality. I'd rather go through here and go, the reason you da-da-da-da-da, literally, I'd read through this and I'd go, okay, there's a lot of great information, humanistic psychology, but was that asked? Do you get what I'm trying to get at? Was it asked for you to understand the concepts between humanistic approach? Did it ask for you to know the self-actualizing tendencies? Did it ask for you to have an unconditional positive? Did it ask for, no. Did it ask for you to explain what positive psychology is? No. This is just incredible information that you're going to be so glad you learned, but it's not the assignment. It's just amazing information that Isabella teaches. So what's the definition of coaching? Hey, look at, there's an answer right in here. There's an answer right in here. So she's going to actually explain. This is a pretty, Coach Federation, according to what coaching is, partnering with clients in a thought-provoking and creative process that inspires them to maximize their personal and professional potential. Well, that took me about 3 minutes to get the answer. Now, I'm not saying you don't. I love reading. I'm a reader. So I would be reading all this and be like, so how would you know when you start to explore the differences? Well, it's right here. Here are the differences. Here's what's the relationship between coaching and other professions. So the notes are all here. What do therapists do? Well, did it ask? What's the difference? When would you refer out? Well, coaches cannot give diagnosis or treat mental or physical problems. This is why it's important to have a good, strong disclaimer on your website. The most important things to know is when to refer your client to therapy. Here's your 4 answers. They have a mental illness, especially if it's serious and acute. The situation of serious abuse or threats of abuse. The client has a problem with substance abuse. The client has thoughts of suicide or attempted suicide. There's your answers. So sometimes you women, not them saying, you women, you people, I'm like Don Cherry now, you know, you people, The thing to remember, here's the most important thing I would love you to remember, Isabel's written. Instead of asking yourself the question, how does coaching differ from therapy or counseling? Ask yourself this. This is how simple it is to know if you should refer out. Is this client out of my league? Am I qualified to help this client? Isn't it that simple? If you were to say to yourself, whoa, this person seems like they've got problems that are out of my league. Now here's this was so amazing about this. You're probably never going to have that happen. You're going to be so confident by the time you're done this program that very, 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 very rarely are you going to have someone that you think, this is out of my league. Because here's what I know. Even someone who has schizophrenia, I have clients that have mental illnesses, they still follow the map of empowerment. So we're not talking about voices, we're not talking about your medicine, but we're still talking about shifting you to a higher perspective. That's what empowerment coach is. An empowerment coach helps a client shift to a higher perspective emotionally. There it is. So what I would do is I would read over your notes, but have your assignment printed out first so that you can actually look at what are the questions that I need to answer. And again, let me make sure that I'm doing this the right way. And I'm just gonna go back, close it out. Great, okay, so that's lesson 1. So did y'all get that? Did I go through that too quickly? Does anyone have a question? You can raise your hand. The difference between life coaching and empowerment coaching, the answer is there. The answer is there, and there's the notes. So if you feel like, oh, I'm not a good reader, I don't like reading, well then you're gonna click on how does coaching differ from therapy? And we're gonna actually open it up now. It's a video. It's a 26-minute video. See, this all would be like frustrating for me.
Hello, SWAT students. I'm happy to welcome you to another one of our lectures. This time, we will focus on the differences as well as the commonalities between coaching and some other support professions. You will get additional clarity on what coaching is or is not compared to therapy or counseling. I will outline the origins of coaching, and in the end, I will give you some basic guidelines for deciding whether or not to refer your client to a mental health professional. I hope that at this point, you have at least some understanding of the nature of empowerment coaching, because in this lecture, we will build on
It's not
that
moving.
coaching has
By
in
the way, it
common
just
with
wasn't
other
moving.
support professions,
Okay,
as well as of what is different.
I'm leaving there and I'm coming back to here. Okay, I'm coming back, so we're coming back to this. So do you see that you can, if you're not a reader, and not everyone is. Some people are like, I hate reading, but I can put that on while I'm working, or I could put the audio only, this is audio only, on while I'm driving in the car or working out, and I could be listening. So we really try to make sure that we appeal to all learning modalities, the reader, the listener, the viewer. Choose the one that's best for you, but don't feel like you've got to do all 3. And that's what I'm saying. Some women are like, oh, it took me a week to get through the lesson 1. And I'm like, that should take you 30 minutes to get through that if you were to read the notes. So let's move to the next one. So we're going to do the nature of empowerment coaching this week. And the next one is the foundation of this type of coaching. It's called the map of consciousness, and it comes from power versus force. This is what I was just telling you about. Here's the great news is, again, look at all these steps. You can read the book. You could listen to the audio lecture. You can download the emotional scale. You can watch the videos. You can, there's a lot in here. But once again, here's what I would do. I would go to the assignment at the bottom. I would say map of empowerment assignment. What are the questions they want to know? Oh, there's only 3 questions. So I could spend 15 hours reading and listening to all that stuff. Or if it were me, I would say, so the questions are, how would you explain the map of empowerment to your clients or someone who's never heard about it before? Then the second question is, what are some of the benefits of using the map of empowerment as your coaching framework? And then the third question is, what can you focus on in order to determine where on the map of empowerment that your client resonates? So again, I think the fastest, easiest ways, sorry ladies if this is I'm going to close that off. I'm going to now show you. So there's some different, again, you could do the map of empowerment lecture, just like that, the video that Isabella does. She'll take you right through it as a lecture. You could have the emotional scale, which I created. So even if you don't have the book yet, even if you don't have this book, I've actually created the emotional scale for you as a document. So the best book I've read that explains the full range of emotions we all experience is this book, Power versus Force. He's created a map of consciousness, outlining each emotion as a level of consciousness. Let's just make sure everyone's muted. Let me just go back over here. Hold on, ladies. Wait. Okay. Someone's unmuted themselves. Just whoever that is. Let me do a shop square for a sec. Let's just make sure. There we go, Laura. Let's mute Laura. Sorry, Laura. Let me go back to this share. Okay, so this document right here, it literally outlines it for you. So according to Hawkins, he's created a map of consciousness outlining each emotion as a level of consciousness or energy. I compare it to a dimmer switch on a dining room light. A low level of emotional consciousness or energy would be quite dark. The dimmer switch would be turned down. Imagine it's a pitch black night. You're driving in your car on a road that you don't know, and there's a lot of winds and bends, and you have very low, dim headlights. How far in advance can you see? How safe do you feel when you can't see very well? Well, imagine that you also have the ability to turn the light up to 1,000 watts. Well, if you were driving in your car with 1,000 watts, you would feel like the entire distance is lit up and you don't feel afraid. Basically, that's what we're helping people do. Be able to see what's going on in a much better way. So I've actually created, for those of you who have often said, well, how does it feel? What does shame feel like? Well, actually, I've written it down. Look at, how does it feel? Shame feels dark. It feels heavy. Feels lonely. We feel unlovable. We feel humiliated, undeserving, inadequate. What's the inner dialogue? I actually wrote that down, the inner dialogue. So when you're coaching someone, and if they are in a very low emotional place, you might hear them say things like, I just don't feel good enough. I don't like who I am. I feel so alone. I feel empty, separate. That's how you're starting to listen when you're coaching someone. The way they show up in the world would be they can't say no to others or themselves. They have a really hard time taking proper care of themselves. This is the basis of all addictions. In any case, this entire map of consciousness, whether you have the map or not, I've written it out in a written way. Okay, so let's go back. So the map of consciousness, you could either have the emotional scale, there's audios, but let's just go back to what those assignments are. That assignment is, how would you explain it? I would explain it as Dr. David Hawkins created this scale or this map that rates every emotion almost on a scale of, let's say, 1 to 1,000. And when we are emotionally stronger or more empowered or emotionally more powerful, we see things through a much higher perspective. What are the benefits of using the map of empowerment as your coaching framework? For anything to work, there has to be structure. And the way that we've created our processes and formulas are all around this framework. And that's what makes this framework work so well, is that it will work with any gender, any age, any denomination, any culture, because it's just about human emotions. And what can you focus on in order to determine where on the map of empowerment your client resonates? I would be focused on what they're saying. I'd be focusing on, when I'm talking to them, how they sound. What are the things they're saying? So you even have me using all that whole list. Not only do you have the book, and the audio and the video. You even have that whole scale where I say they might say things like, who I am is no good. What does guilt say? What I did was no good. What does apathy say? It's not my fault. What does grieving say? I'm just so sad at what could have been, should have been, and ought to have been. I'm not happy with the way it is. What would fear say? I'm afraid. I'm afraid. Or apathy might say, I feel stuck. So you're going to learn this in time. That's it for this week. Okay, so I'm going to go back. I don't want to overwhelm you because that's already a lot to digest. But this week's homework is, let's go right back to the beginning. Imagine you came right into the SWAT forum, the SWAT platform. You're going to scroll down and go to module one, click. Lesson 1 and lesson 2. So we're going to really focus on what is empowerment coaching and what is the map of empowerment. The only book you need to focus on right now is Power versus Force by Dr. David Hawkins. So I kind of just moved through that really fast. Does anyone have any questions? And I would love to chat with you. I'm going to take away my stop share, and I would love to chat with you, especially for those of you that are new. Actually, I shouldn't just say for those of you new. For those of you who have been doing this before, for those of you who have gone through it already, do you have any words of wisdom or suggestions for fellow sisters to make sure they stay on track? Alex wrote, my biggest question, let me go through over here. My biggest question, tell us more about the TV show. I can't yet. I can't, I'm not gonna, I can't screw my chi up. Okay, where do we submit the homework? Great question. Let's go back to that. Don't worry, Alex, you'll be filled in. How do you fill in? Okay, where do you guys do it? Okay, I have to make sure I'm seeing it. Okay, let's do it here. So you would click on your assignment. Wait, let me do a screen share. Okay, let me go back, screen share. I'm gonna show you how to put in an assignment. Okay, so let's go here, screen share. You're all seeing this again, module 1, yes, yes, yes. Okay, so here's how you would do it. You would click on your assignment and you would, again, you might be seeing this from my screen. So you would literally go down to add submission. Now, how do you do it? Okay, I need one of you smart ladies that are already doing this from your screen. Who's sent assignments in already? Who's already put assignments in? I'm getting ready to my share screen for a minute. Okay, I just know there's some of you that are really smartical and you've been doing this for a while. Charlene Byers, have you put any assignments in, Charlene? Byers? Okay, I'm unmuting you. Charlene, no pressure, sister. How are you? I can't hear you. I thought I unmuted you. We're gonna go to Christina's iPhone 2 in a second. Charlene, there you go. Hey, Charlene, how are you?
I'm good, hon. How are you?
It's so great to see you again.
You.
Charlene, when did you sign up for the first time? Was it in September of 2019?
That was recently. Yeah, September.
And yet I feel like we've known each other for a lifetime already.
I know. It's awesome.
Isn't it? It's amazing.
Yeah,
Charlene, do you want to do a screen share and show them how you put in an assignment?
I'm going to be on. Probably not. That's not my.
Gabrielle?
Maybe Gabrielle. I don't want to. I think if
Will
I
you do a screen share, Gabrielle, and show them how to put in an assignment? Okay. Okay, Charlene, I'm going to mute you for a second. I'm going to unmute Gabrielle. No pressure, Gabrielle. Okay. Gabe, I was talking to your friend this morning, Heather. Oh, I just unmuted you and you muted. There we are. Gabrielle, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. I know I always see you as Gabrielle, but anyone who ever talks to me that knows you goes, oh, you're with Gabe. And I'm always like, why don't I call her Gabe? I should be calling her Gabe.
No,
Gabe the babe. Gabe the babe. Brand new Grammy. How's your grandson?
He's like the light of my life right now.
Aww, so
yeah,
beautiful.
he's incredibly smiling now and cooing and.
Aw, so fabulous. So Gabrielle, do you know how to put in an assignment from your perspective, the student's perspective?
I do. If I do, I have to bring up my. Oh, actually, I do have it. So what do I? Oh, where did I go? Do you see me?
Yeah, just do share screen. Do you see the share screen at the bottom? I know I could do it myself, but I just want to show you a screenshot that's exactly like yours so that you're not seeing it from my administrator view.
Okay, I don't know what I just did, but I clicked on my,
Do you see the share at the bottom that I told no one to ever press?
yeah, but now all I see, oh, okay, hold on. Ooh, I don't know what I did. Oh my goodness.
Nothing like having the first call, and Crystal's so organized today. Okay, I'm going to do it. I'm just going to do it. Here we go. Share screen.
I did.
Oh, Ramona. I just saw Ramona. Ramona's like, I'm all over it. I got this. Okay, Ramona, look at all you sisters. I love you. I'm unmuting you. Ramona, how are you?
I'm good. It's nice to see you live again.
It's nice to see you. Okay, Ramona, so you want to do a share screen and show us
Yeah,
all your
I have like 17 tabs open all the time, so you'll have to bear with me.
No problem. So, okay, great.
Okay, so here's my module.
Yep. So let's go back to module 1.
It's probably gonna make me log in again, but that's fine.
I don't think it will. I think you're in. So,
Okay,
perfect.
so module 1.
Click on module 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
So all I do is I go to the assignment and I copy.
I think you just got booted out, so you have to log in again.
Yeah, okay, so I go, well, I'll open it first.
Yeah.
Okay, so lesson 1.
Yep.
So I go to the coaching assignment.
Yep.
Copy and paste that and onto a Word document just so I can type my answers in without recreating something.
Yep.
And then obviously
Scroll down.
listen to the lecture or.
And just to be clear, ladies, if you scroll up a little bit, Ramona, the instructions are all there. So I really made this really challenging, and it didn't need to be. Like it says right there how to do it. Scroll down the page and click on the Add Submission button.
Yeah, so I, once I've done the document, then I just
go to, oh yeah, you've already done this assignment.
I've done it.
So right there would be.
Yeah, I just click on it here and I choose it from my files and submit and save, and then it's.
Okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm being such a bad teacher for our very first class, like such a bad teacher. Okay, Ramona, undo your share screen and I'm gonna share screen. Here we go. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna show you how to do it. It's really not hard. Okay, so everybody, you just don't see all this, like you see it a little different on Ramona's page. So submit instructions. So scroll down the page and click on Add Submission. So see right here, Add Submission. See, I'm seeing like everyone's everything, but Add Submission. So that would click. And right there, drop and drag. So you can either drag your Word document over here, or you can upload a file. Like I don't have one attached right now, so I'd have to choose a file. But let's say I were like choosing something, like I'm gonna put that. Okay, so let's just say I chose that file, and then I would upload that file. And there's your answer in, and then you'd save changes. The other way to do it is drag it over, or the other way to do it is you can actually, some people do, they just write their assignment right in, like their file. Cancel, let me cancel that. I've really made this far more challenging than it is. Add submission. The little box is going to open up, and you're just going to drag or just click on that box, and then you're going to choose your assignment that you've done in a Word document. Choose the document, like whatever it is, that could be a document. Put it in. There's the document, upload this file, and then save changes. And it's in. And then Isabella and I can see that, and your assignment is in. So there it is right there, put in. Does that make sense to everyone? Does that seem easy? Does that seem hard for anyone? Here's the funny thing. I suck at knowing this stuff. Isabella will answer all these questions for you on Thursday. But here's the interesting thing. I know that you can also just type right in there. I wouldn't recommend it. I would recommend it doing the way Ramona said it, use a Word document and then just upload the file so that you can be making changes. And if anything ever happened to the platform, or you're like typing away and all of a sudden you didn't save something and all your notes are gone, I would just always recommend do it in a Word document and upload your assignment to the actual lesson. Does that make sense for everyone? Okay. Any other questions for me? Does anyone want to, does Christina? Christina has a question. She's asked to raise her hand. I'm unmuting you. Hey, Christina, how are you? I've just unmuted you.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. So I have a question though, like when you submit it and it says for grading and
You don't
way
need
back
to worry
when.
about that. You don't need to worry about grading.
Yeah, I know.
Because you're not being graded, but what we do is we do read every single assignment just to make sure you're on track. So you're not going to get, you just, if you do the assignment, if we were to read it, if you don't hear from us, you're on track. Let's just put it that way. So we're just reading through the assignments and making sure, okay, she knows what she's doing. She's on track. If we were to read one and think, wow, this is really off base, we would privately contact you and just let you know, hey, you know what, let's rethink this one. We've never let you fail. We would just say, let's rethink this assignment. This is more what we're looking for. But remember, you're not being graded on your academics in this program. Okay, you're not being graded on how academic you are, how well you write. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm going to tell you this. Isabella reads every single assignment before you pass at the end. And then she also listens to your coaching calls, and you do get a final mark. You do get a final mark at the end. Like there's been 2 or 3 people that have gotten 100%. And I'm always like, how did they get 100%? She's like, their coaching calls were amazing. Every assignment was amazing. But does it matter if you get 100% or 85%? Really, ladies? No. You just want to make sure. We're going to make sure you get 80% or higher. And we would stay with you and keep working with you until you feel like you're really confident. The most important thing is we just want to help you be a great, confident coach. And I guarantee without fail, any one of you who have actually done your mentorship coaching, by the time you're getting near the end, you'll say, I don't even want to give up mentorship coaching. At the beginning, you'll say, I don't want to do it. I'm so scared. By the end, we have so many women that say, can I just stay on volunteering? No, you can't. We need these women for the next women coming in to do mentorship coaching. So you'll also find that when you actually start your mentorship coaching, this is where the greatest growth and learning is going to come. This is where you're actually in the trenches and you're practicing. And yeah, I'm not going to lie, the first 3 or 4 times, you're going to feel a little bit nervous. It's normal. You might think you need to have Post-it notes and recipe cards and all kinds of things to make sure that you know what you're doing. But you know what? You're going to know what you're doing. You're going to feel so confident by the time this all comes together. It's all going to make sense. And even for those of you that might be here for the first time today thinking, trust me, there wouldn't be this many thousands of women and women that come back over and over that say mind-blowing, epic, life-changing, because it really is. So give it a chance. This week, all you need to focus on is lesson 1 and lesson 2. And I guarantee if you keep at this pace, you can go ahead. If you want to go further ahead this week, you want to do lesson 3 and lesson 4, no problem. I'm just letting you know the speed at spending 5 hours a week that will move you through this entire program in 4 months. If you can give yourself 5 hours a week, you know you can do this. So if you know that you've got a week's holidays or 2 weeks holidays and you're not doing anything, try to jump ahead a little bit on the weeks that you can, catch up a little bit more. Anyone else have a question? Is that good, Christina? Did you get that? Yeah, I think she did. Anyone else have a question? Anything you want to ask? Anything you want to share? Ramona? Yeah, Ramona, unmute your line. You can unmute it yourself.
Hi. From my perspective, for the new ladies who are joining, there was times I wasn't able to catch the live calls. There was some travel and work commitments. So for me, I just tried my best to stay on top of the calls as much as possible. And then I would chunk out some time and go and do assignments in chunks. So that helped me not feel overwhelmed.
Right. And do you find that these live calls were I have heard this is the most important aspect of the program, is getting on these calls, even if you can't be live, but watching these give you the foundation of like, okay, what do I really need to learn and understand in this assignment?
Yeah, then I don't get too caught up in trying to be academic, because sometimes you listen to the calls, you're like, I don't know if I'm going to remember all this, right? But getting on the calls, you go, okay, I get the flow, I get it. And that for me helped not to get overwhelmed if I wasn't able to put in 5-10 hours a week.
That's right. And you know what? Isabella is extremely academic. So isn't she? She's brilliant. She's a genius. Like, there's no doubt in my mind. She's got to have an IQ of about 160. She's just brilliant. And I'm not even joking. And she never falters. Like, she just maintains her woman energy at all times. Like, she never gets rattled. And if she does, I don't know. I've been with her 10 years. I haven't seen it yet. And here's what's really beautiful, just so that you get to know the way we communicate. My daughter's my executive assistant. My husband is our CFO. Isabella's been with me like 10 years. Yvonne's been with me for 10 years. She's the dean of the school. Our professors, we have Kate that's getting ready to leave. She's our professor of psychology in our master program. That's why I put out a hiring request today. But what you'll realize is that we communicate in such a high level of consciousness. There's no conflict. There's never confrontation. And so as you start to move through this, you're going to actually start, wow, the way of showing up in the world, the way that we write emails to each other, the way that we communicate with each other, such a deep level of respect and kindness. And that's such a big thing we want to just keep teaching over and over to you, is how you're showing up. It will change everything about your life. And when you get into those and you are able to get and sustain those high levels of consciousness, finding clients become easy, handling life's crisis becomes easier, dealing with your own children or your partner or your problems becomes easier. And so that's why being live with us, it really will help you. And it's such an important part of this program, rather than just being alone and kind of being like, what's the map of consciousness? That's important. But this collective community and recognizing how that we communicate, I think might be even more of an impact for you. So try your best to be on the calls live or listen to the calls. Gabrielle, would you agree? I see you shaking your head. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna unmute just Gabrielle for a second. Tell everyone, Gabrielle. Tell them all. Tell them.
Yeah, when I think, because this is my third time. I started in May, and I'm trying to remember back to how it felt, those first few calls. And absolutely, like for me anyway, that's the way I learn, is just repetition, and just the class. To me, yeah, coming to these live or even just watching the recording, that's the foundation for me. And
I was a little scattered today just because I'm trying to remember what's the most important things. Once we get into the lessons, I'm hyper focused on the most important qualities of each lesson. And ladies, I am a lifelong learner. People wonder, how do you read at least a book a week? How can you do all that on top of everything else that you do? I really do know how to lock in on highest producing activities. And that's one of the things that I want to continue to teach you. I'm really good at being really clear on what's going to make me money, or in your case, what's going to help me understand this and move through it with speed. So that's why you want to be on these calls, because I'm going to help you lock in on what's the most important thing to learn, how to learn it in the fastest, simplest way. I take very complex things and make them really simple. That's probably my superpower. I can take quantum physics and explain it in a way that people are like, oh, that's just quantum physics. Like, really what we're talking about? What are we really talking about? We're talking about this. I'm gonna actually say it to you on the very first class. Every single one of us, every human being, we all resonate at a certain frequency. What does that mean scientifically? This is not about spirituality. This isn't about God. This is science. And science says that if any one of us were to take our hand and put it under a microscope and zoom down on it, the top layer is cellular. This is true. That's why we say, well, you got to drink your water. You got to eat healthy and you got to get enough sleep because you're a cellular being. But science also says that if we kept zooming down on a deeper level, we would actually see that you are made up of billions of little atoms. And those atoms are essentially empty. What does that mean? That means those atoms look like, imagine you could You're in a restaurant, you got one of those little packets of sugar. It's a packet, but imagine there's nothing in it. That's what an atom is. But there is something in it. And what's in it is a little bundle of vibrating energy. And science tells us that every emotion, it's hard to get your head around, but it's almost like music. Every emotion has a different frequency. So what we're doing is when you have emotions that every human being has, but we're going to actually go through every one of those emotions. When you're carrying a story inside your head, and it might be so unconscious, and it might be a childhood story even, but it might be a story that says, if you knew the truth of who I am, or if you knew the truth of where I came from, or if you knew the truth, you might not think I was so wonderful. Well, that will give an under the surface frequency that you might not even be conscious of, but things feel, it is actually an energy or an emotion that just moves slower. David Hawkins would call that, or I would say that's like turning the dimmer switch down. And you don't want to say to somebody that's feeling that way, well, why would you feel that way? Smarten up. That's not going to help them. So what we do is we teach you how to ask the right questions that will naturally just shift someone one emotion at a time. Even when you think that the dimmer switch is bright, the truth is it had to go, it had to turn up. So what we're teaching is how to turn it up. So we all resonate at a certain frequency. This is factual. And that is why sometimes when you look back over the course of your life, there were some times in your life that you were like, I felt amazing. I had so much energy. I had so much energy. Now you might not be connecting it to what were the stories I was telling myself at the time? How was I talking to myself? What was I believing about life? What was I believing about myself? What was I believing about my ability to handle this? And what we do is we actually help you and your clients. Well, you're going to help your clients, but we're going to help you recognize like, wow, I didn't even realize it, but I might have learned a way of showing up in the world that is not my greatest energy. It is not my highest potential. It is not the best thought process. It is not, I'm not vibing high. I'm not feeling like I have so much energy I don't need to sleep. And we're not talking manic energy. We're talking about a deep level inside that's bright and light and joyous, and you can't fake that. You can't put lipstick on and fake it. You can't lose weight and be there. That stuff is physical. Lipstick is physical and the size of your hips are physical. It's something deeper. It's a deeper level of consciousness. And that's what we're essentially helping you do, is first for you, first and foremost, how to actually recognize, wow, you have control of the dimmer switch. But you might not even know it, and you might not even know where the dimmer switch is. So what are we going to do? If right now you feel like you're in a pitch black room and you're feeling along the walls trying to find the light switch, we're going to bring it to you faster, and we're going to show you how to turn it up. And when you turn the light up, all of a sudden you're like, whoa, I can see my choices better. In fact, you might even think it's almost like being in an elevator. It might even be like, you know, some people are literally, they're like, I don't know, I don't have a lot of choices. But imagine that they were in the basement of the most stunning hotel, but they're in the basement. There's no view. In fact, it's pitch black. So we put them in an elevator and we're going to have them switch. Now, if they go on the first floor and they look out a window, they're really only going to see what's right at eye level. That's their perspective. But that doesn't mean that's what's out there. That means that's the perspective that they're seeing. Now, what if on that first floor, there was just tons of garbage dumpsters? And that's where your room was in the hotel. And so every day you look out the view and you're like, wow, all I see is garbage. That doesn't mean that's what's out there. That means that's the view of what you're seeing. And if that's all you ever saw, you might really think that's what the world is like out there. So we then switch you up a level. We move you to a higher level of consciousness. And then you're like, Oh, look at, there's stuff behind the dumpster. Oh, there's actually a park out there. I didn't even know there was a park. And then you get up on the 3rd floor, and then you start, and then by the time you get to the penthouse, you're like, oh my God, look at the mountains in the distance, the ocean's over there. There's that, you have a 360-degree view of like the most extreme, and then you're suddenly like, I could take that choice, I could take that road, I could take that road, I could take that road. I didn't even know there were those choices available to me. That's it in a nutshell. Let's get you to a higher perspective so that you can actually look at your own life and realize there's way more choices than you realized. And that is why sometimes when someone is in a really low place, and I've heard people say it, they might say it about somebody that's homeless, everybody has a choice. That person doesn't know they have a choice. They wouldn't make that choice if they thought they had other choices. So there's no judgment, unbelievable compassion, the realization that everyone's got an elevator. And even if that person is down in the basement or on the 1st floor, no one's shown them how to get in the elevator and press the up button. That's what your job is. Your job is actually going to help lift them. And here's the thing, even to get to the penthouse, what do we know? You actually have to go through every floor. You can't like beam me up, Scotty. You're not on Star Trek. You can't vaporize up to the top floor. You actually have to climb it. Whether it's fast like an elevator, whether you're taking the stairs, you have to do the work. And only you can get yourself to a higher level. But sometimes you need someone who's up at the penthouse looking down going, come on up. It's great up here. Come join me. And in fact, you have your own penthouse and I have my own penthouse, and we can all hang out together if we want to, or we can stay in our own penthouses, but everyone has the ability to have the full range. And here's where it gets exciting, is you decide what floor you're going to get off on. When you start to realize, oh, I didn't even realize I'm just choosing the floor of anger right now. I didn't even know that just above anger was dignity. I didn't even know that just above dignity is courage. I didn't even know. And then above that, there's willingness. Where there's a will, there's a way. So sometimes people don't know, and they get to the floor of anger and they're like, I don't know, this floor feels really stressful. It's really angry. I don't want to be here. So I'm just going to go back down. No, you're going to move through it. You're not going to stay on the floor of anger, but we're going to move you through it. And we're going to help you understand what anger feels like. And then what to do with it to push you higher. So it's exciting. It's actually really, really exciting work, ladies. You're going to have a great time yourself, moving through the levels yourself. And then it becomes super exciting when you realize it doesn't matter what problem someone has. You can instantly, you yourself in time will get where you can instantly actually go, oh, they're resonating, and not to be, you're never going to be like judgmental. Oh, you're resonating in shame. Oh, I think you're resonating in fear. You're not going to do that. But in your mind, you're going to think, but if you are resonating in fear, this is how you're going to see the world. It's going to be a scary place. You're not going to be able to trust. You're going to be really afraid. It's going to be hard to make decisions. If you are on the floor of pride, you're going to be really self-righteous. It's just what's going to happen. It's okay. At least you're like feeling good about yourself. That's a lot better than being down in shame, but you're not going to stay there. But you are going to have to get to the place where you realize, damn, I got it going on. And then we're going to keep pushing you higher. Does anyone have any questions? You think you can tackle lesson 1 and lesson 2 this week? I'd say try. Just go at it. Don't overthink it. Don't get in your own way. Don't talk yourself out of it. It's easier than you realize. Dive in, get her done. And if you can make it on the call on Thursday with Isabella, she's extraordinary too, and she'll be covering different topics, and you have her to always ask questions to. And like I said, don't be intimidated, but she's lovely, lovely, kind, and compassionate, but as smart as they come. And there's probably nothing you could ask her that she won't be able to answer. So you're going to love this. You're going to be mentored by women that you're in time going to realize, I have really intelligent, empowered, amazing mentors. And don't we all need that? Don't we all need to have people in our world, in our community? Because birds of a feather flock together. We need each other. And many of you are brilliant too. And your questions push us to be like, ooh, Ooh, great question. Because here's what's great about great questions. It makes us come up with great answers, and it pushes us to a higher level of consciousness. So ask questions, feel like you're part of the community, dig in. Don't tell yourself some story like, I can't do this, I don't belong, it's not for me, what am I thinking? That's all fear. That's nay on the poo-poo on the fear. It's okay. We're just going to move through it. We're just going to keep moving through it, because I promise you, you got this. You can do this. And we're going to be with you every step of the way. We will not leave you behind. All righty. Anyone else have any questions? Raise their hand if you do. All right, ladies, have an awesome week. Lesson 1 and lesson 2. And bye for now. Ciao, ciao.